For thousands of years, the Bible has been read as a book of faith, a book of morality, a history book. But what if we've gotten it wrong? What if we've been fundamentally misreading it? Today, we're going to explore a really radical idea that this ancient text isn't a religious book at all, but a technical manual for reality itself. I mean, really think about that question. It changes everything. What if the Bible isn't about a set of rules you have to follow, but about a set of specifications you're designed to align with? What happens when we stop treating it like a holy book and start, well, treating it like technical documentation? Okay, so let's start with this idea of reality's operating manual. Imagine if the core principles of science, psychology, even things like business management, all the stuff we thought we discovered through centuries of trial and error, was actually documented all along. That's the premise we're exploring, that the Bible might just be the original design specification for reality. So how do you even begin to see the Bible this way? Well, the key, the secret decoder ring, if you will, is in the original Hebrew. When you look really closely, the language starts to seem less like poetry and more like a very precise, technical vocabulary that's all about function and design. Let's just start at the very first word, bereshit. We all know it as in the beginning, right? It sounds like the start of a fairy tale, but a more technical translation is with the foundational architecture. Whoa, suddenly that's not a storybook opening. It's an engineering statement about first principles. And this pattern just keeps going. Take the word tov, which is used 7 times in Genesis 1. We always translate it as good, like it's a moral judgment. But technically, tov means functionally complete or operating to spec. So when God saw the light and called it tov, it wasn't a compliment. It was an engineer's assessment. System works. This reframing even changes how we look at the Torah. We translate it as law, which sounds so restrictive, so heavy, but its root actually means to point or to instruct, which means the Torah was maybe never meant to be a book of rules to limit you. It was an instruction manual designed to show you how to operate correctly. And these instructions get incredibly practical. I mean, the Torah has detailed protocols for diagnosing skin diseases, sanitation rules that predate germ theory by millennia, and even agricultural specs for restoring soil fertility. Come on, these aren't just random religious rules, they're technical guidelines for a healthy, flourishing system. Okay, so if reality is a design system and it has an instruction manual, what happens when you ignore it? Well, that brings us to the concept of sin. But in this framework, sin isn't about breaking a moral rule. It's about causing a system malfunction. You know, the original Hebrew word for sin, chata, is actually an archery term. It literally means to miss the mark. It's a word about technical failure, not moral failure. An archer who misses the target commits a chata. A system that's operating outside its design specs also commits chata. This means the consequences aren't divine punishment. They're just predictable system errors. And if you read Genesis 3 through this technical framework, it sounds like a perfect description of this exact malfunction. Operating outside the design specs triggers a cascade of failures. Shame is internal disintegration. Blame is relational disintegration. Toil is environmental disintegration. And finally, death is just complete system failure. It's not a punishment. It's a predictable mechanical outcome. It's like an engine seizing up when you run it without oil. So if sin is a system malfunction, what's the fix? Well, this is where grace comes in, but seen through that same technical lens. Grace isn't just some abstract idea of unearned favor. It's the system's built-in protocol for getting back online. Think about it like this. Grace is the built-in recovery protocol. It's this powerful restorative energy. It's the force that allows a malfunctioning system to reboot, to realign, and to return to its original factory settings. It's not really about forgiveness in a legal sense, but restoration in an engineering sense. And we actually have analogies for this all around us today. Grace is like a system restore on your computer or a factory reset on your phone. It's even like the error correction codes that are built right into our DNA. It is a fundamental mechanism designed to fix errors and restore the original function. So this entire technical interpretation, it all culminates in the person of Jesus. In this view, he wasn't just a great moral teacher. He was the living, breathing embodiment of the entire operating system. You know, John's gospel famously begins, "In the beginning was the Word," but the Greek word used there is logos. And logos doesn't just mean word, It's a technical term for the organizing principle, the design intelligence, the very operating system of reality. So John is making this absolutely incredible claim. The OS for the entire universe became a person. And this reframes his miracles completely. They weren't violations of natural law. They were demonstrations of it working perfectly. When he healed a blind eye, he was restoring an optical system to spec. When he calmed a storm, he was returning an environmental system to order. And when he raised the dead, well, that was a complete system reboot. So, does this technical manual actually align with what we've discovered elsewhere? Well, it turns out, absolutely. We can see these ancient design principles being confirmed again and again in fields like modern science, economics, and psychology. Just look at a few core principles. The idea of a Sabbath, of rest. Neuroscience now confirms it's essential for peak performance. The principle of generosity. Economics shows it creates more prosperous societies. The importance of unity. It's a cornerstone of modern systems theory. These aren't just religious ideas. They're functional design principles. The connections are stunning. Toyota's famous quality principles echo a verse in Colossians about working with excellence. Modern medicine's discovery that a cheerful heart is good for your health, that's right there in Proverbs. The psychological benefits of forgiveness, the economic power of giving, it's all documented. At a certain point, this can't be a coincidence. It's a powerful confirmation of the same underlying operating principles. So when you put it all together, the entire text just transforms. The Ten Commandments aren't just rules, they're specifications for a flourishing society. The Proverbs aren't just wise sayings, they're tested engineering principles. The prophets aren't doomsayers, they're system diagnosticians warning of a coming failure. And the New Testament letters, they're basically technical support documents for the new user. So, if any of this is true, it means the manufacturer's manual for reality has been sitting on the shelf for thousands of years. The design specs never changed. Which leaves us with one final provocative question. Are we in our technical age just now learning how to finally read it?